Good morning, happy Monday. I'm looking a bit worse for wear this morning because I'm absolutely exhausted and I didn't sleep very well. But it is 10 a.m. pretty much exactly on Monday, the 19th of May. And the reason I'm recording this week is because it's my Viva week, which is terrifying. So I have my Viva on Friday at 2 p.m. So this week leading up to it, I'm still working, like teaching dance and everything. But I'm really trying to focus in on like a last minute read through of my thesis, which is down here. I want to read through it one more time, I've got some flashcards with practice questions on, kind of do a few of those every day just to kind of casually do it. I don't want to freak myself out too much, basically is the idea. I've done a mock Viva with my supervisors. I did a mock Viva with my mum as well, actually. She was really helpful because she read my thesis. So I was kind of like, if you can remember it semi-well, can you just ask me a few questions about like things that weren't clear, areas that you would pick up on if you were like an academic and examining me. So she very helpfully did that with me on Saturday. If I did like another whole mock Viva now and I didn't answer something I thought very well, then I would panic and it would be like in my head and I'd get in my own brain ahead of Friday. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of a bit more chill about it. Today, later on, I'm teaching dance. So I'm teaching this evening and I'm teaching tomorrow evening. So today and tomorrow in the daytime, I'm going to be doing this. Then Wednesday, I'm going to be working on this and I have dance in the evening. I'm not going to dance on Thursday because I just think I'm going to be a mess and absolutely no use to anybody. So I'm just not going. I think that's for the best. And then all of Thursday, I've got sort of bits to do in preparation for Friday. So I need to make sure like I have cards for my supervisors to say like thank you. I'm making them biscotti as a gift, and I've got like some cellophane bags to like put it in, present it nicely, and I should hopefully have enough to kind of give some out to some of my friends at uni as well. And if it goes well, maybe to my examiners. Who knows? If it goes badly, I won't give them biscotti. Friday morning, I would like to go for a run before, just to kind of like get out some of my nervous energy. So I'm hoping that I can go for a run, come back, get myself ready, and then head off. My Viva isn't till 2 p.m. So that gives me quite a nice window in the morning. So that should be fine. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Been quite a while and I realise I haven't really caught you up on what's kind of happening in my life because I kind of dropped off a bit. Basically, I have been doing some research assistant work. I've been carrying on with the research assistant work I started a while ago, which I think I probably did mention, with my supervisor. So we're looking at animal-human interaction. We're looking at like non-lexical vocalizations for animals. So I've been doing a lot of social media searching. We're kind of drawing things together to see like what we've got at the moment, and then we're hopefully going to develop that into paper, conference presentations, things like that. So that should be good. And then I've also taken on an additional research assistant role in medical ethics, which is really fascinating. Essentially, they needed someone to do some of the qualitative analysis. They've got focus groups. That's my area, qualitative through and through. So I signed up, I was accepted, and yeah, it's really interesting. The deadlines are pretty tight, which is kind of kicking my butt a bit. So I get given the data to transcribe on a Thursday, and then I have to transcribe like several focus groups, which are like really quite long, and also develop that into a report. So I have to do the transcription and then the analysis and then write that up into a report in like 4 working days. So I get them on like the Thursday, and then I have to have them done by end of day Tuesday. So yeah, Thursday, Friday, Monday and Tuesday. I work at the weekends, so it's really difficult to then fit that in, but it does also mean that now and then I'm doing bits of work on like Saturdays as well, which is not as ideal. But it's not every weekend, it's just kind of like as and when the focus groups come in. So it's kind of okay, but it's really tight. And like, just for a couple of bits of like scale, like a general rule of thumb is that like when you transcribe, it takes like something like 3 to 5 minutes to transcribe 1 minute of actual data. So that's kind of a general rule of thumb that people use for like how long it actually takes to do good transcription, particularly like conversation analytic transcription, which is what I do, which is really detailed. And then I looked at the report that I put together for them, and it was 70 pages. So this is like absolutely massive, to be honest. Like the scope of what I'm doing in this role is really massive, and it's like really quite demanding. Luckily, I got that all in early. I handed it all in by end of day Friday, which means that I now have all of this week to focus on my thesis. And I really did like push myself to do that so that I could focus on my thesis. Like realistically, I went a bit hard on it, and I just did nothing else for those couple of days, and it like totally melted my brain, and I had such a headache. But I did really want to make sure that this week was all about my Viva. So like next time that should be a bit more chill, luckily. Basically what I'm trying to do is kind of, I've got this like teaching gig, which is like, it's kind of awkward because it's part-time work, but it's kind of 3/4 time. And it's like, it's really difficult to find part-time work that then fits into like a quarter of a week's work, if that makes sense. So it's not like this is what I do 50% of the week, I have a whole 50% left to give. I actually don't. So it's really difficult to find work that fits that, which is where the like RA roles come in. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can kind of keep layering these research assistant roles that I can get, if I can get them, and kind of keep like overlapping them until I hopefully get to a place where I can start a postdoc. That's the kind of dreamland idea. I am also very fortunate in the sense that like often things like cover teaching comes up. So the fact that I like have a trade, so to speak, like I am a dance teacher, it does mean that I'm in a good position that way, because I can like leverage that for bits and bobs of work, or like if someone has like maternity cover for like a term or something, or someone's going to be away for like a month, then I can step in for that kind of thing. So that's kind of helpful as well as like a backup. So I mean, we'll see how things go. But it is really strange being in this kind of precarious place where I haven't got like, it feels really strange because I specifically made this decision to not find a full-time job so that I can hopefully do a postdoc. And that's really scary because it means that I'm kind of like putting myself out on a limb. And it means that at the moment when I don't yet have a postdoc, I'm in this kind of position of like, I don't know yet whether that was a stupid idea. So I'm in this like weird place where I'm not going to know if this was a waste of like a year, even 2 years, until after the fact. So if I don't get a postdoc, this is going to feel like a massive waste of time, which is really unfortunate. But, you know, what can you do? I think I kind of have to go for it in order to see if I can make this kind of like dream of being in academia work. Unfortunately though, academia is not geared up for it's not geared up for like a lot of people to work in academia. So like a friend of mine told me the other day, she applied to a postdoc and she got told there were 400 applicants for every one place. So that's encouraging. But also it's like, it's not geared up for people so if you're not in a position where you can make rent and bills and you can like tie things together, then it's just not possible. I mean, I'm really fortunate that like I have my partner, and together like my 3/4 salary and his full-time salary and my little bits and bobs that then add on to make mine a full-time salary all works out okay. But not everyone is in that position, and that's really like sucky for people that don't have that privilege of being able to like take their time and being able to see like where the chips fall. And that really sucks. And I just don't know how anyone realistically does it, because I'm struggling and I'm still in this like unbelievably privileged position. It is really bad. Like, academia is not great that way. It's not a very easy landscape or like job world to get yourself into. And it's just so like fragile even when you are in it. So like people kind of assume that like, I'll get a PhD, like people outside of academia assume that, oh, you get a PhD and then you're set, like you will get a job. And it's just not the case. There's just so many applicants for every job, and there's always someone who's got like more papers, more experience, their project fits better. So it's like, it's really difficult to know what's going to happen next. And I think it can feel like a really precarious, dangerous position to be in. Like, I definitely have friends who feel like their PhD has been a waste of time. I don't feel that way yet. I feel like I've really enjoyed it. I've had a great time. So even if it doesn't end up going somewhere else, I think that has still been beneficial for me. And I still want to work in research anyway. So even if I do like have to leave academia and try and get a full-time job somewhere else, like external, then I think I would like that to still be in, or at least tangentially related to research, in which case the PhD has been like a beneficial thing for me anyway. But certainly I know for some people it's felt like a massive drain on their time, their energy, their resources, and it just cuts such a big slice out of your life. It just delays like so much. So I totally get like that perspective. Anyway, that's my like kind of downer for now. I'm going to carry on with this and hopefully not reflect too much on the concept of academia being like a bit of a shit show. Good morning, happy Wednesday, hope you're doing well. It is 8:30. I'm about to go for a run. I've started running. Basically, my partner and I have ambitions of running a half marathon next year. I've said it out loud now to you, so now we have to do it. Motivation, I guess. And we started doing like timed interval training, so we've been building up. So today I'm gonna run for 5 minutes and then walk for 5 times, I think. And basically it builds up like every time you go for a run. So on Saturday, I think, we're gonna do like 8 minutes running, 3 minutes walking, I think 4 times. So it builds up like in intervals. So yeah, I'm gonna see how we get on today. It's a bit grim and wet outside, so I don't know, hopefully it's not too bad. It looks like it has been raining, but it's not raining now. I like running, kind of. After the run, I feel like I enjoyed it. I feel like I like having run. Whilst I'm running, I'm not having so much the best time, but I like the feeling of having been for a run. So hopefully that starts to shift a bit and I start to enjoy it a bit more like during as well. But I don't know, any runners help me. Is that normal? I don't know. But yeah, I'm off. I've just done my first interval. I don't know if you can even hear me with these headphones on. It's raining, it's miserable. I want to go home, but 4 more and then I'll be done. First wasn't too bad actually. I thought it would be worse because I didn't go on Monday. I slacked off because I wasn't feeling great, but actually it's not too bad. I'm doing all right. Everything's kind of okay. That's the update for anyone who cares even remotely about running. I'm back from my run. It's 10:30. It's 10:30. I've eaten breakfast. I just had some eggs, and I'm going to dive back into my thesis. I've got one eye on, it's actually my 10-year school reunion this year, apparently. That's flown by. So I've got this group chat that I'm in where people are sort of discussing when we're going to meet, where we're going to meet, and all that kind of stuff. You can hear it popping off. And so I've got one eye on that, just keeping an eye on what's happening there. But yeah, that's made me feel really quite old today to receive all those messages. So we'll see what happens with that. I am probably halfway through. Yeah, more or less halfway through my reread of my thesis. This is really handy to do at this point because there's a lot of stuff that I'd kind of forgotten or overlooked, or little things that I'm noticing now that I hadn't really noticed when I read it before. I'm actually amazed how much I've forgotten. That's kind of concerning to me. There's a lot of stuff that I'm reading and I'm thinking I totally forgot that I wrote about that. I totally forgot I used that theory. Really, really strange. So, I mean, we'll see how Friday goes. It's creeping closer and closer. Every day I wake up and think oh my gosh, it's almost here. It's really strange because the Vivas always seem like this big, faraway thing that's never been within my reach, and now suddenly it's imminent. And it feels like, even though I've had so long to prepare, it does feel like it's kind of crept up in the last minute, which is really, really strange. I saw someone post on Instagram the other day, I can't remember who it was, but they said that they felt like at the end of their PhD journey, they were kind of hinting towards finality in loads of ways, because you have your submission, and then you have your Viva, and then you have corrections and all that kind of stuff. So that I totally am in that place where I feel when I submitted, I felt okay, it's done. But then it's obviously it's not, because I've got the Viva. And then I know that even when I finish the Viva, I'm going to have this feeling of okay, it's done. And then it won't be done because I'll have the corrections. So it's this really strange kind of feeling of it's over, but it's not. And that's really weird and really strange. And yeah, I was just really pleased to see somebody else talking about that and putting into words what I was kind of feeling. Tomorrow, I'm just not going to have time to do anything because I've got to bake biscotti, which I'm sure I've already mentioned. I've got to go and get cards, gift bags, things like that. My best friend just moved house as well, so I want to get her a little card for that. Actually, she's probably going to watch this before she gets the card, so that's coming. And then, yeah, it's my mum's birthday on Sunday, so I'm going to bake her a cake, and I need to get the ingredients, so I need to go to the shops. I also need to get a gift bag for her gift, wrap that, just because Friday I'm anticipating I just won't have headspace for anything else. Saturday I'm working and baking that cake, so I kind of want to front load as much as I can. Yeah, one thing that I think is a handy tip for Viva Day, something that I've done, which is giving my supervisors my phone number and making sure they have it. So I know one of my supervisors already has my number, but I gave both of them it again in an email and just sort of said, in case you need it on Friday, rather than trying to email me back and forth, here is my phone number. Give me a ring if you need me to be somewhere quickly, if you need me to come down and say hi or anything like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm going to crack on now with my coffee and my thesis. I come into the office, I realised that I just could not focus at home. So I've come in, we're in our new PhD suite, very fancy. We've got the whole 5th floor now, so I'm just going to sit here and read over my thesis. Yeah, exactly what I said I was going to do, but I'm actually going to do it because I'm here. I'm still dressed in my running gear. I didn't even bother getting ready. I had a cup of coffee ready to go. I just tipped it into this, so it was a bit cold by the time I actually drank it. But I feel better already and more focused for being actually physically here. So yeah, hopefully that's going to help. Also, so many lovely people around are giving me lovely support, which is really nice. So yeah, I'm just really hoping that I can get some actual focus in today. Good morning. It's Thursday. It's what time is it? 10 a.m. Our clock's wrong on the oven, so I have to check on my laptop. Thursdays come around really quickly. I feel like I'm just like racing ahead towards this Viva, and it's just kind of like the last few days have been a blur. Today I'm not really looking at my thesis. I am a little bit because I need to read. I've got one chapter and my discussions to reread. I want to do that today. But also I'm baking biscotti. I want to give my supervisors biscotti as like a thank you gift. I always think like a nice thank you gift is something that's kind of like handmade or baked or something like that. And yeah, I bake a lot, as you know. So I thought I'd do some biscotti, but I'm doing like 3 different kinds. So it's going to be like a long day of production for me. But I think that's quite good because it will distract me. And then maybe later I might go for a run. I don't know. I wanted to go for a run tomorrow morning, but looking at the timings again, it's a bit tight. I'm not sure if I can. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get on and bake now. Okay, so biscotti number 1 is going in. This is like a plain almond biscotti. I also think I'm going to do like a plain vanilla biscotti because I did those before and they went really well. And then I'm also doing a chocolate biscotti. So I'm going to do the chocolate one next and I'll see how I feel about the vanilla. But this one's going in now. Here they are. Number 2 didn't go quite as well. They kind of fused together and one's way bigger than the other. So these are going to be absolutely massive and these are going to be like more normal size. But, you know, we rock and we roll and we'll see what happens. I am on biscotti number 3 and I do feel like I might be losing my mind a little bit. I think this might be like a biscotti based breakdown and I now have so much cleaning to do as well and I'm kind of stressed about all of it. And it's starting to hit me that like this time tomorrow I will be pretty much going into my Viva, which is really quite terrifying. Yeah, I'm starting to feel nervous now. I'm starting to think like of all the things that could go wrong. All the horrible questions I could get that I haven't even like appreciated myself. I've just realized I've left the cupboard open as well, so that's fun. But yeah, I'm gonna really try and distract myself and like read a bit more of my thesis, finish this bloody biscotti, and start packaging it up when it's cooled down. Okay, so I've finished all of my biscotti. I don't know how many bags there are, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, kind of about 14, and then one from each of my supervisors with a bit more in it. So yeah, I'm going to take these in tomorrow. They turned out pretty well. I'm quite pleased with them. And these little tags are really cute. So I hope that people are in to like actually eat them. Otherwise, that's a massive waste. But yeah, that's the end of my baking adventures for today. Hi, it's now 3:30. I'm just going through the final chapters of my thesis. One thing that's really interesting today is I'm like really, even though I'm nervous, but I don't feel anxious about it yet, but I'm noticing that like I'm not hungry. I'm quite restless. Like there's little things, like little clues that anxiety is building in me without me kind of really realizing it yet. So that's really interesting. I'm kind of just trying to think what I can do with the rest of my evening later to try and make sure that I'm like as zen as possible. I'll probably try and read. I might do some yoga. I think I mentioned already I'm not going to rehearsal tonight because I just think I would be a mess. And to be honest, I'm probably like more in danger of like causing myself some injury by not being like fully focused and being on point and stuff like that. So I think I'm better off just not being there tonight. Which is a shame actually because our director's there today, he's not there often, so it's a shame that I'm missing him, but what can you do? Probably got like, I'm gonna say like 100 pages left, so I'm gonna go and read that and hopefully that can be like a pretty grounding process. I also just realized that I haven't really looked at my appendices since I submitted, so I want to give those like a bit of a once over just because I'm sure I might get questions about them. I have loads of appendices, so I just want to make sure I'm like not totally going in blank with that. Another thing that somebody mentioned online that I hadn't actually thought about at all was it's very possible that you might get asked about papers that you've written if you've like cited them within your thesis, which I have done. So I'm going to just take in with me like a printed version of the paper that I wrote with my supervisor. And if that comes up, then I've got that like in front of me to refer to, because I don't want to be kind of totally thrown off and talking about something that I can't remember all that well. So I'd rather have it in front of me and say, you know, yeah, I wrote this a while ago, but yes, I can talk about it. It's here. This is how it relates to my thesis, etc., etc. So yeah, that's kind of just something that is quite helpful to think about. Okay, my nails are now done. I'm just doing all these like little things that are kind of last minute. Let me turn you around. Last minute things for just to make me feel a bit more like presentable and a bit more with it. Just little things to make me feel like I'm a bit more on top of things, a bit more presentable. And these are things that are just totally not necessary, but it also just gives me something to do today. So some of these are like, they're time kills really, just to like pass the time now until tomorrow. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. I finished reading my thesis, so that's good, I guess. I don't know what's happening anymore. I feel like I'm kind of losing my mind a bit. It is exactly 6 p.m. I've made myself a cup of tea. I'm actually quite sad because this is the last of my Christmas tea. I bought up a load of the Twinings. I think it's called Gingerbread Joy. It's really good. It literally tastes like gingerbread. And yeah, basically I'm kind of sad that that's over now. I'm gonna have to wait until next Christmas to get more, but yeah, it's perfect day to have some, I guess. I've also been reading Conclave. My mum read this. Actually, ironically, she started reading this before the late Pope died, and then yeah, she was reading it while the conclave was happening, which is a really funny like kind of parallel. But she said it was really good. I haven't seen the film. I want to watch the film, but I want to read the book first. So far, actually, it's really, really interesting. Like, I'm learning so much about, like, the whole process of a conclave, which I just didn't know. So it's, like, a really fascinating read, as well as being, like, a really gripping story. So, yeah, definitely recommend that. I'm, like, a third of the way through. I'm gonna read a bit, drink my tea, maybe watch some TV. Just chill out tonight. You can probably hear the dishwasher. I put the dishwasher on because of all that biscotti I made and all the stuff that needed washing. So yeah, that's my evening. Good morning. It is Friday the 23rd and it is 9:30 a.m. I woke up, I had a meeting at 8, so I woke up at about 7:30, went straight into that, then showered afterwards. I've got a coffee that my boyfriend made me, and I'm gonna go and get myself ready. I'm dressed underneath this hoodie. I've got this hoodie on just so that I don't spill makeup all over my black dress. Obviously I'm wearing a black dress, and I'm gonna go and do my makeup, and then I'm gonna do my hair, and then I should be good to go. Terrifying. So I'm now ready. It is like 25 to 11, so I'm about on track. I'm dressed. Let me show you my outfit. This is the outfit, you can't quite see, but I'm wearing heels as well. The heels are going to come off because they're quite high, and I'm going to take them in a bag basically, and put them on like before I go in. So yeah, I'm starting to get nervous now, and I think I was just saying to my boyfriend, I think it's because I've done like everything I need to do now. So previously I was like, oh, we'll have this meeting, so I wasn't nervous because I had something to do. Then I was like, oh, I have to get ready. Now I'm ready. So now I'm just sitting in nerves. So I'm going to pack my stuff and go into the office and really, really hope that other people are there. Some people have already sent me lovely good luck messages, which is really nice of them. I'm just hoping that other people are there so I can have like a bit of distracting conversation. Also, my fringe looks a bit funny. I might straighten it. It looks a bit uneven. Oh no, that's better. It's just the way it was falling. Okay, I'm going to head in. And just for the purposes of like completion, this is with the flat shoes. So I'm going to wear these to, I don't know why I showed you both feet as if they were going to be different. I'm going to wear these to the office. I have put all my biscotti in bags. So now I have my regular backpack and these 2 bags full of biscotti. So this is going to be an interesting walk. But as my mum pointed out, I won't have to bring it back. So at least then I'll just have like an easy time back, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna leave now. It is 10 to 11, so I'm doing okay for time. Gonna go in, take my thesis, just skim over it, look at my notes. I've also got my flashcards that I wrote previously. I'm just gonna skim over those as well, hopefully get some distraction, so bye. I just got into the office. Oh, the wind's done funny things in my hair. I'm just putting out all my biscotti on the desk so that people can take them as gifts. This one's for my supervisor. So is that one. Started to get really nervous when I arrived at Waterloo, which is the nearest station. Yeah, it just suddenly like hit me in a bit of a wave. I'm hoping that like a few people are in today, which can sort of calm my nerves. I haven't seen my supervisors yet. I don't know if I'm going to. We'll see. But yeah, for now I'm here. I'm gonna look over my thesis and just keep plodding on. I think if I stop for too long, then I'll make myself too nervous. Here's the last biscotti. There we go. Okay. All biscottied out. It's our lovely kitchen, by the way. It's new. My supervisor just encouraged me to come down and look at the room. This is the room where I'm going to do the Viva. So I'm going to sit here, and then my examiners are going to sit over the other side, and then my supervisors are going to sit behind me over here. Both of them are coming in, which is brilliant. I've just seen that one of them's in the office, so I'm going to go and pop and say hello to her. And yeah, that's that. I just met one of my examiners. She came in to have a look at the room while I was in there with my supervisor. But that was quite good because it's kind of humanised her a bit, which was very nice. She met me and she sort of said, you know, I feel like I know you, I feel like I've been in your head from reading your thesis, and obviously you don't know me. So yeah, that's humanised her a bit, so that's good. I don't really know what to do with myself. It's 12:15, so I have like an hour and a half before I need to like go and get ready and be outside the room. I don't know what to do with myself. I was gonna go and get like a notebook or something. I might still do that. That might be a good idea. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm losing my mind a bit. So I'm in a bathroom because I couldn't find a quiet space, but I passed. Exciting, and even more exciting is I got no corrections, which is like unheard of. My examiner said that's only the second time she's ever given that in her life, so that's astonishing. They really liked it, they were lovely. My supervisor brought me cake and champagne, and it was just really lovely. I'm going to go and meet my mum and my boyfriend and tell them now.
She's known what it is. Yeah.
So I'm back home now. It's 9 p.m. I've had a really lovely day. I think I had the opportunity to kind of like say briefly earlier that I passed and that I got no corrections, which is astonishing. And yeah, it kind of all went by in a bit of a blur, to be honest. But I had a good experience. I was quite surprised. A lot of my questions were very future focused and were kind of talking about like, what broader debates do you think that this chapter could sit into if you were to make it into a paper, or like where would you position this in terms of like relevant literature? So a lot of things were like not really in the weeds of the thesis in the way that I'd expected it to be. There are a couple of questions that I was like surprised by, or that I couldn't quite, it wasn't that they were like difficult questions in what they were, but they were the way they were formulated, it wasn't kind of clear where the examiner was going with them. So like one of the questions I got at the beginning that kind of threw me a bit was one of my examiners said, look, you've got these research questions, and I'm just wondering, like, looking retrospectively, what alternative research questions could you make based on your individual chapters? So can you turn to a chapter and tell me what research question you could work backwards from that? And I was like really thrown by that, because I just wasn't expecting anything like that at all, because I was like, well, my research questions are my research questions. But it was okay. So I flipped to a chapter and I did that, and we had a conversation about it, and he seemed to like what I was saying. He was like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Like, I feel that your work could fit this literature, and I wanted to see if that's what you were getting at, da da da. And then he made me do it again with another chapter. And by that time I was a bit more sort of confident, because I kind of got what he was doing by that point. But that definitely threw me. My examiners were really lovely. Both of them said they really genuinely enjoyed reading my thesis, and one of them said that she was like getting up at 5 a.m. excited to read it, which is really nice. And one of them said it read like a novel, which is also really nice and really flattering. So both of them said it was like a really enjoyable read. Yeah, I feel really lucky to have had some lovely examiners. After they kind of finished all their questions, I went to go and sit in my supervisor's office, and it was like a really short turnaround. So I sat down, we were there like 20 seconds, and then there was a knock on the door, and one of my examiners was there and said, you know, we've reached a decision very easily, come back in, which I did. And then they said, congratulations, we're going to award you the degree of doctorate, and we're not going to ask you to make any amendments. We're very happy with this thesis. We thought it was really, really engaging. We really enjoyed reading it, so I'm absolutely thrilled. They gave me some suggestions for papers that they specifically think could come out of it, and how I could position them, where I might publish them. They mentioned the fact that they thought that the thesis might be a good book, but I think I've mentioned on here before that I'm not sure about that, because it's an awful lot of work for what ends up being like one publication on your CV, and it's like a small print, and people don't tend to read them. But I don't know, it's worth looking into. Yeah, it was a lovely time. Then my supervisor had very presumptuously bought a cake, which was lovely. It was strawberry and rhubarb, which is delicious. I've got a couple of slices left and some champagne, and then afterwards we went out for a few drinks with my mum and my boyfriend. It was all really lovely. I've just had a really lovely day. I genuinely did not expect that at all. I thought I would get corrections, definitely. I thought I would get, on a good day, I was hoping for minors. On a bad day, I could see a world in which I got majors. Yeah, I think one thing that I would say has been really helpful for me is I was like very keen to stand my ground on a couple of things. So like they asked me in particular, one question was about like the nature of power within the group I looked at, and I was very firm in saying like, okay, yes, power is kind of present here, but it's not something I've looked at as an overarching theory, and that's why it's not really addressed as like a key component of my work. And I was like kind of firm with this kind of assertion that like I'm not looking at power. So I think that was helpful, because I think otherwise that could have been a correction. It could have been if I'd said like, yes, this thesis is interested in power, like to appease them. I think that might have turned into a correction, where they might have said, you know, okay, well then you need to write it up a bit more clearly, whereas I was quite firm in my assertion that it was not part of my interest in this thesis, and that it kind of like comes up here and there and might be an interesting paper, but it's not the main kind of business of the thesis. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with myself now. This is surprising for me. I'm working tomorrow, so I'm teaching. It's the last class before half term, and then next week in half term I'm really looking forward to just doing nothing. I really, really am. It will be lovely to just have that time to just read. I'm looking forward to reading. I've got like a stack of books I want to get through that I've been like stress buying but not actually had the opportunity to read. So I'll do that. Sunday is my mum's birthday as well, so Jack and I are going to go and meet her for dinner. Then we're going to go back to visit my grandmother and just have a nice time. I'm baking her a cake tomorrow, so that should be nice as well. But yeah, just a really lovely way to round off a really lovely day. Some of my lovely friends gave me gifts and cards. That was also really, really incredible. I've just had so much support and love from so many people, like in the department, in my dance circles, and like I just feel so lucky and grateful. But yeah, I'm going to finish this off now. So if you're still watching, thank you very much for getting this far, and thank you for supporting me and for being there. I really appreciate it. Bye.